Welcome back to another Win Daily show, sponsored by WinDailySports.com and the Sharp app. Adam, it is Tuesday night. The Mets are still playing. I hope they don't blow another lead like last time that we were on together. But Tuesday afternoon, pretty good slate. We kind of nailed it. Pitching wise, Tuesday night, you were on Luzardo. He had a monster game. Sandoval held up. We got some guys about to start out on the West Coast that we were on, but we're going to look ahead to Wednesday, man. We have an early slate, a big early slate, probably the biggest early slate since opening day. And the aces are back. We got some new aces. We got some old aces. Kershaw is making his debut as well. So, Adam, where does it start, man? I know you nail pitching at WinDailySports.com. You basically got us going every single day of the week. This is a monster slate for pitching. It starts up top for the early slate with Max Scherzer against the Phillies. Then you got Nola on the backside of that. And then you got old man Adam Wainwright going against Kansas City, priced at 8,700 on DraftKings. So I know that might be interesting for you. So get us through this pitching on the early slate first.
Yeah, I think it starts up top and it might end up top because as of now, I have Nick Lodolo kind of tagged to do a deeper dive prospect for the Reds coming up to make his first career start. I have Zach Thompson for the Buccos tagged. He was part of the Jacob Stallings trade that I kind of remember was like moderately interesting profile wise. He's cheap enough to take a look at. But man, past that, like I'm not sure if I'm going to be too involved with any pitcher priced under Nathan Eovaldi on this, on the day slate for DK because I'm just not finding anybody that even on the surface looks great. Tristan McKenzie's probably not stretched out. I mean, I guess maybe Kyle Hendrix. Pirates offense is looking pretty bad so far. Josiah Gray against Atlanta, who woke up tonight. There's just not a ton of options that you're going to feel comfortable with at the bottom. There's guys you can take shots with, but if you're looking for comfort, it's solely up at the top.
Let me ask you a question. You mentioned a name, Kyle Hendrix. Typically not your high strikeout pitcher. He goes out, first game of the year for the Cubbies, 7 Ks against Milwaukee. Pretty impressive. He's cheap. He's too cheap for a matchup against, the Pirates. Nothing against your Pirates here, but at 6,600, does he become a nice little pairing with somebody up top or Wainwright in that mid range?
I would bet he'll probably be fairly chalky, just because of the matchup. Hendricks threw 83 pitches first time out, so his arm is ready to go. Where some other pitchers are kind of still, a little bit questionable on how far they can go in that second turn. I don't expect 7 Ks again, but knowing he threw 83 pitches, he might be able to get through 7 at the rate this Pirates offense is hitting so far.
Yeah, I like that call. I like the Evaldi call as well. I think both of them have some upside here. And if you're looking at Vegas, we don't have props up as of yet, but the Boston Tigers game has an over-under of 8, and that Pirates Cubs game has an over-under 8.5. And then you got Scherzer versus Nola. A little surprised. I don't know if it's my Mets bias or what, but the Phillies are favored here slightly, minus 130. What's your thoughts here? Who gets the better half? Is it Scherzer against the Phillies lineup, or is it Nola against the Mets lineup?
I mean, it's probably going to be Scherzer, and I'm going to admit to some bias here because I can't stand Aaron Nola. He's just one of those dudes that always does me wrong, no matter what I end up doing with him. I pitched a lot more of him on opening day just because we got word that Shane Bieber was probably only going to pitch about 65 pitches. So I got off of Bieber a lot. So it still paid off. I mean, Nola scored 20.5, but like he illustrated perfectly why he drives me up a wall. He cruised for 6 innings and then went back out there for the 7th, gets tagged for 3 runs, and all of a sudden a great start is just, it's a really good one, and he got the win. If you don't get that win, you're looking at 16 DK for almost $10,000. That's not going to leave you all that satisfied very often.
And I saw all the Phillies fans blaming Joe Girardi, not Nola, blaming Joe Girardi for leaving Nola out there for that last inning. Evaldi, interesting too. He had a decent first start, 7 Ks, way tougher matchup. He let up 2 home runs. That's where his earned runs pretty much came from. But 7 Ks in 5 innings on the road against the Yankees, a way softer lineup with Detroit. So I think between him and Hendrix, that's where I'll probably go in that, that mid-range if I don't go to Wainwright now. Wainwright, I don't know how this guy is still pitching at this caliber, man. Like, I give him all the credit in the world. Kind of like a Maddox type where he just keeps on going and going and going. Over under 8.5. Cardinals are going to be a really good team throughout the year, man. I think, like, from a stacking perspective, they're always going to be in play. That lineup is deep, 1 through 6, got power. They get on base, they steal bases. So I think Wainwright is in line for another win, man. Minus 160. One of the bigger favorites. Kershaw and the Dodgers are minus 170, but we don't really know what to expect from Kershaw. We probably know what we can expect from Chris Paddock. Disappointing start. He kind of got dumped on Minnesota, left San Diego, didn't work out on that side of things. But I do think if Wainwright, I'm seeing a little conflicting, DraftKings Sportsbook. This is DraftKings again, and we got to confirm right now if Wainwright's going, because I see DraftKings Sportsbook has Jordan Hicks pitching, and then DraftKings, the actual fantasy outlet, has Wainwright growing here. Do we know if Wainwright got pushed back due to that, rain delay or postponement the other day?
Yeah, you know what? They might have, because they're trying to stretch Jordan Hicks out to be a starter. So they might just wind up pushing Wainwright back the day just so they can keep on their 5-man rotation. Because I know Hicks was only supposed to throw about 45 pitches. But, if you give him another day off, like, it's just even tougher to get him stretched out. I'm pretty sure he was kind of still being babied from an injury. He's definitely had some issues over these past couple of years. So it actually wouldn't surprise me if Hicks starts. I know when he was supposed to pitch what would have been today, he was only going to be limited to 45. So, if Aaron Hicks is – I'm trying to remove the starters now because I want to see how much he is. I think it's called Aaron Hicks. Jordan Hicks. Jordan Hicks is only 4K. If he starts – 4K pitchers on DK, like, even at 50 pitches, they're still interesting because you have a guy like Hicks that can throw 100. He can get swings and misses. You're talking $4,000. There's how many hitters more expensive than this guy?
Here's the funny part. We keep on ragging on DraftKings every time. So I think we just found out that they have 2 different data providers. Like, if the sports books have, Hicks and fantasy has Wainwright, something is up with DraftKings, man. I got to make a call because it's starting to bother me with these pricing models or algorithms that they're working with. Now their data's all messed up. So I know there was a postponement earlier this week, so that could have threw a couple things off here, but kind of weird that they went ahead and did that. But if it's Wainwright, I like him a lot. If it's Hicks, at 4K, it becomes like, a good punt if you need the salary. Now, looking at lineups, man, what do you make? I got to ask you before I ask you a real question. What do you make of the Cleveland Guardians lineup? Is it a good lineup? Is it a great lineup? It's been cashing and making people money. Our guy at the Sharp app, me and you played the early slate. I was in like 10th place in one of the tournaments. And then our guy, Statsational from the Sharp app, he ended up taking down first place for 25K this afternoon due to Cleveland. He had all the pieces of Cleveland, and then he had somebody on Cincinnati who came through in the last at bat and got him over the hump there. So a big shout out to him. Make sure you go download the Sharp app as well for all your sports betting needs. But what do you make of this Cleveland lineup at this point?
Yeah, they're hitting well to start the year, and this is a team that was kind of just mid-pack against lefties. But you're talking about a rookie. Like, we played a rookie today. We played Matt Brash. He turned out to be the highest scoring pitcher on the slate.
Great call on that, man. Like, I was initially last night when we were talking, I was stacking the White Sox, but by the time you talked to me this morning, I'm like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. And you just showed me that highlight. I'm like, this guy looks like he's just gonna run through these righties here, and he ended up doing it. So great call on that one, man.
Yeah, we were able to hit his K prop during the day as well because it wasn't up when we talked last night, and we hit it for plus 130, so it was a really nice return. That kid's got some evil stuff, and he's going to be fun to play this year. But I haven't done the same deep dive on Lodolo yet. that's a dangerous spot, man. Jose Ramirez, Framo Reyes, who really hasn't even gotten going yet. Rosario, like there's some righty bats here that could really give him fits. Oscar Mercado, still under 3K, he hasn't done much other than 2 big hits, but he's got 2 big hits already this year. Owen Miller at 2,100. These guys are still really cheap. I don't think they're going to perform at this level, but you're not paying very much. You can still afford the bigger bats with these guys.
What I like about it the most, man, like without knowing much about, the rookie, Cincinnati, man, great American small park. Like
Yeah.
it's getting hotter on the East Coast too. So these balls going to carry day game. Hopefully, things go that direction. The over-under, highest of the slate right now at 10. This might go up. McKenzie's pitching on the backside. McKenzie could be great or he can implode at any time. So this could be a game stack where you load up on a couple Cincinnati Reds. It worked out today for whoever did that because it was a late run by Cincinnati, but a lot of Cleveland late as well. So that could be one of the better spots here. Outside of, this Cleveland-Cincinnati game, nothing is really jumping off the page in this early slate. But we do have Zach Greinke going for the Royals here. You could go back to the Cardinals. You can go to the Dodgers or Chris Paddock, which I would have to assume Paddock is going to be on a pitch count here. He's not going to be out there for too long. What other teams are you looking at from a stack perspective in this early slate?
Probably looking at Boston. They're against the lefty Eduardo Rodriguez. I think a lot of guys know this guy really well, considering
revenge
past couple years. It's one of those things. I don't necessarily want to say history, but it always seems like the guys who caught these pitchers, they know the pitch counts, they know all this stuff better than any other player on the team. So like a Christian Arroyo, if he's in the lineup, you don't really know because Boston played during the day, so they didn't really play like the night day swing. They played in the afternoon today. But if depending on who's catching, like that's interesting. JD Martinez is affordable. Trevor Story's kind of day to day right now. They're saying he's probably out again Wednesday, so we'll have to leave him out. But you still have Xander Bogaerts. You have Kiki Hernandez. You've definitely got some bats in this lineup that will still look appealing.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good call there. There's some revenge on both sides. So it becomes an interesting little game there between Boston and Detroit. Now, Chris Paddock, man, this guy, I thought he was a real deal. That first year coming up for San Diego, I thought this guy's going to be like one of the next top arms. But just didn't work out after that first year. Just down season after down season. Then he gets dumped to Minnesota. What's your thoughts here? The Dodgers haven't really broke a slate yet. They've had a couple decent games, but nothing, too out of the ordinary where you needed a Dodger stack. They have power from the left side. They got power from the right side. They are affordable, and they're probably going to be popular going into the slate as well. They've been disappointing. They disappointed in Coors most of that series. What's your thoughts here on the Dodgers? Is it a team that you need to get pieces of going into the slate, or can you continue fading the Dodgers and making money?
I mean, you don't necessarily want to continue fading Dodgers because it's always going to be scary. And it's kind of interesting because Paddock was reverse splits pretty heavily last year. Through about 50 innings to each side. There's a 381 WOBA, 325 average, and only a 22% K rate to the right side of the plate. Now, his xFIPs were way better than his ERAs. His xFIP to the right side is only 3.77. So I'm going to be interested to kind of take a look and see like kind of where the disconnect was. But this is still the Dodgers. Like this is still a top 5 lineup in baseball. Just because they haven't got going yet doesn't mean really anything for that next day. So they're definitely a team you're going to have to consider.
Let me ask you a kind of crazy question. You tell me if I'm crazy or I might be on to something here. Buxton's been hot. These Twins have been scoring a couple runs here. Any love to try to go against the big name in Kershaw, who, it's his first start of the season, kind of been up and down here. He's not going to go. None of these Dodger starters have gone more than like 60, 70 pitches from what I remember so far. So you're going to get a bullpen game out of the Dodgers as well. Any love for some Twins here and a potential mini stack or a one-off here with Buxton or Correa?
So I just saw. I found Kershaw pitched a simulated game. He pitched 75 pitches. And he pitched 5 innings.
Yeah.
So probably around 80. I would guess is his max. Simulated game's a lot different than an actual real life major league hitter. I think if you're gonna go any Twins, I think you probably just leave it at the higher end guys because there's still some strikeouts in this lineup. Like maybe you can punt with Gary Sanchez, but past that, it's probably like Buxton, maybe a Carlos Correa, and that might be about it. Because like if you look at shortstop, it's Turner, Correa, Bogarts up top, and then it's kind of like okay, there's just some guys. There's not anybody that jumps out at me right away that says, "Oh man, I got to have them." So it's either probably up top or if you get a daylight game, you can use a wraparound stack or something on the back end for cheap.
So let me ask you one other strategy question. You put together, DFS lineups every single day. You put together articles every day. You're helping everybody out in Discord. Do you like playing a team after a big game, after these bats woke up, or are you more prone to fade a team like the Atlanta Braves? The Braves have been quiet. They've been quiet all season. They broke out on Tuesday night. Now they get Gray. Now they're at home. Now they get a day slate. It should be hot down in Atlanta. First game of the slate, you have Rosario, Olsen. Riley's been kind of cold. Duvall's been kind of cold. The back half of this line has been kind of cold, but they woke up tonight. Do you use that as the start of a trend, or are you gonna take that recency bias out? And when people jump on the Braves after a good game, are you gonna step away?
It all depends on what the matchups and everything look like. The day before has no bearing on the next day. Josiah Gray through his MLB career so far has just not been a good pitcher by pretty much any metric. So it's another great spot for the Braves. So that weighs more for me than anything else.
No, it makes a lot of sense. The Mets, they hit him up, in his first game, 4 innings pitch, 8 hits allowed, 4 earned runs, a home run, 2 walks. You K'd a couple bats, 5 Ks, but like you said, this might be another spot for the Braves. Now we got a weird slate. You got like this little mini slate. It might be part of a FanDuel Express slate, but I know you wanted to talk about your boy Valdez. And what I want to ask you before you talk about him, before we see the props tomorrow, what number would you have to see to hammer the over here on Valdez? What do you think the prop's going to be, and what do you want it to be? And what do you think he's going to project out as far as his Ks in a nice matchup against the D-backs?
So that's the thing. It is a great matchup against the D-backs. If you're over on FanDuel, he's on the main slate. And the one thing is, he's $1,000 cheaper than Scherzer. Scherzer is not an easiest spot. Philly's definitely got some bats that could be dangerous. And the one thing, like, it's only one start, and you don't want to take a whole lot from just one start for any pitcher. But with somebody like Scherzer, who has had so many miles on his arm, like you're always on the lookout for that first red flag to be like, what's going on? He did not
Be
get a
nice.
swing. He did not get a swing and miss on his fastball in the first start. That's really
Be nice
weird.
though. I don't want to hear injuries. You can say he might have a rough start. I just don't want to hear any more injuries, please.
You just it's weird that Max Scherzer pitches a game even on 80 pitches and does not get a swing and miss on the fastball. His slider was still great when he only really throws it to righties. Philly should be mostly righty heavy. That's a really good sign for him. But if you want that extra 1,000, man, Framber Valdez looked awesome against the Angels. They have a lot more talent in that lineup than Arizona does. I kind of assume the strikeout prop will be at 5.5. As long as there's not heavy juice on it, I'm going over.
All right. We've been hitting these K props. Unfortunately, we can't give them out in the show because we do this show the night before, but they're in Discord every single day. I throw a couple out there. Our guy Adam will throw a couple out there. We got stuff going on in golf and NBA as well. So make sure you check us out at windailysports.com. Hop in our Discord expert chat. You can find it in the show notes. You can find it on the website. You can also sign up for a free week to the website. Just use promo code radio. Use our lineup optimizer. Use our projection model. Our man Ghost has been crushing it in NBA. He also runs our MLB model. And before you know it, football is right around the corner as well. We've got a big golf tournament later this week where our guys can be talking golf for the next 2 days. So make sure you check all that out at windailysports.com. Now, 640 slate on DraftKings, 4-gamer. Our guy McClanahan paid off big time last time around. He was mispriced. I'm guessing it's DraftKings, so he'll probably, he's mispriced again, 7,500. And then you got Burns, who got lit up, man. Like, I don't know how he got lit up by the Cubbies, but only 4 Ks, 3 earned runs, let up a home run, 3 walks, started off terribly. The only thing that was good, he threw 83 pitches. Like, I was happy about that. So he should be stretched out here, where if he has a good game, he's going against Baltimore. He had an easy draw in his first game, I thought, as well, with Chicago. And I think the wind was even blowing in here, and he still blew that game. So Burns, 9,600. And you also got Robbie Ray, man. So you have Burns, Robbie Ray, and Garrett Cole is number 3 against Toronto. Barrios, man. Like, do we even want to talk about this guy? Like, I cashed with him, I think, that night.
I did too. I hit cash with a
and he had negative 10.9 on DraftKings. So, like, it's all the people who burned you. And then there's McClanahan, who, if you played him, I think he was on the second day, and he was severely mispriced. He paid out. He's going against Oakland, which I would say is probably the second best matchup on the board. You got Burns versus Baltimore, which is, I would say, A or A+ matchup. Robbie Ray versus the White Sox is tough. Cole versus the Blue Jays, tough. Barrios versus the Yankees, tough. McClanahan versus Oakland seems like a good spot. How do you rate these top 5 in the late slate? 4-game slate, so you want to get a little bit different, but just on a raw projection first, how do you rate these guys out on raw points?
Yeah, it's McClanahan. I mean, in raw points, you're probably still going to go with Burns in the bounce back spot. I'm not ready to be like, okay, sound the alarm bells here. I know he did get lit up in spring. It was cold. It was nasty in Chicago. Maybe he just couldn't grip the ball real well. I'm kind of interested to see what he said after the game, if he highlighted any specific issue or anything that can be taken forward. But when you're looking at this, man, McClanahan really just stands out. And not only because he's 7,500, not only because he struck out 7 hitters in just 4 1/3 under 70 pitches. It's the fact that the Tampa Bay Rays lost Luis Patino 13 pitches in yesterday. Had to lean on the bullpen for most of the game. Brett Phillips was out here pitching as a position player towards the end of the night.
You see that catch he made?
Good. Man,
and then was hilarious.
And then again today, I don't think they got any length. I'll have to double check that. But like they've been depleting their arms early. I think they're going to ask McClanahan to go about as deep as he can go. So I think we're looking towards 85, maybe even 90 if things are going well. I mean, Oakland, I know that they've kind of gone off here these past couple slates against the bullpen, but like McClanahan just looked good right off the hop, like we kind of expected. 7,500 is way too cheap. And then after that, it's Burns, it's Barrios, Ray, and then Cole, I think.
Going back to Barrios versus the Yankees, man. That one, I think I can see the strikeouts come, but it worries me. I don't even know if I want to play around with it. I think I might just lock McClanahan and Burns and call it a day.
It's tough to not just want to do that.
Yeah, like that's like optimal. I think most people will do that. So if you want to come off that, I get it. I guess, after seeing what Brash did to Chicago, Robbie Ray is still, I think I'd rather go there, even though I don't really want to target Chicago with a lefty. Like, I'd rather target him with a righty.
That's the thing, man. Chicago is just death for lefties. I mean, don't get me wrong. Robbie Ray is fantastic, but that lineup is one of the most lethal against lefties in baseball, and I don't think it's going to change much this year. And the other thing, too, again, I haven't looked deep yet, but 4 walks to 5 strikeouts for Ray. That's a little scary with his history.
Yeah,
he managed to go deep. He went 7 innings. He threw 96 pitches. That's great. 96 pitches in the first turn is like gold.
If you told me that Robbie Ray would win a Cy Young, I'd probably bet a lot of money against that. Like, because he
Yep.
was always that guy who would just walk everybody, and he'd either walk you or strike you out, and then give a home run, like a 3-run home run mixed in there, and it just would never work out. But look, man, he crushed again. In his first start, 7 innings, 5 Ks. His pitch count was 96. It's a really tough matchup. I think optimal definitely says Burns, McClanahan, call today on DraftKings, but I'd probably lean Robbie Ray just for that pedigree that he's a better, more consistent pitcher at this point in his career than Garrett Cole and Barrios. If you want to get cute, I just got a question for you, man. If you want to get cute, anything out there? I don't think you have to, but any love out there for maybe John Means against Milwaukee at all? A little bit?
I don't hate that idea.
I don't think we need to, but
But if you're
maybe.
playing 3 max or something, he did have 5 strikeouts. Again, he went 84 pitches. I think the Rays are a tougher lineup than the Brewers. I know the Brewers are a good lineup, especially against lefties. It's not an easy spot for him by any stretch. But $6,000 for Means is you can work around that. And the thing is, he didn't pitch horribly against the Rays. I mean, he walked out of that only giving up 1 earned run in 4 innings. That's not bad. He just gave up a bunch of hits.
And he figured things out last year too. Like last year, he did figure things out. He got better. He was a prospect at one time and just kind of fell off. Who's your favorite stack for the late slate, though? There's not many games. You got to get different. If you got to rate these stacks out, who do you want to go at first?
I'm going at Dallas Keuchel first because until he tells me to stop, there's no reason not to. Kykel was just awful last year. I think if it wasn't for some injuries with the Chicago pitching, he probably wouldn't even be in the rotation right now. I don't know how he's possibly earned that at this point, but he'll try and eat some innings for him. He's not a good pitcher anymore. After that,
these are all.
I don't think this is a slate where you're going to stack up five hitters from any team. I think this is a good slate to go 3-3-2. Maybe 4-4, something like that, because I don't necessarily see any lineup being worthwhile to stack up the majority of their lineup.
Listen, if you go Burns and McClanahan, say we're calling that the optimal pitching stack, I think that allows you to take a shot on a couple righties from Chicago. Yeah. I think Cole is hittable at this point of his career, and I think Barrios is also hittable here too. So I think you mix and match, like you said. You don't need a full game stack, and understand that none of these pitchers are really stretched out. So even if Cole or Barrios or Ray are hot early, you can still get the White Sox against, their bullpen. You can still get Toronto and New York, the three, I would say the 3 best lineups late, and then you can mix and match some other pieces. Seattle, look, I want to go against Kykel. Just Seattle's kind of depressing to stack because, who do you really want? I tried it in the early slate. I'm like, all right, it's the best matchup on the board. Let me get some. Who do you really want here? It's like the only guy I didn't play that I thought was kind of, off to a bad start. I think he was 1 for 12 was Eugenio Suarez, and he hits a home run, has a 2 for 4 a day. So maybe you go Suarez versus Kykel. That makes a lot of sense. And you mix and match some other Seattle bats. Go with Haniger. But this Seattle lineup, like I said it last time, man, I don't know how they won so many games last year. I don't know how they're going to win so many games this year, but let's skip right to it, man. Give me your home run calls. Give me one for the early slate. Give me one for the late slate. And then give me your gas can. Which pitcher in the entire slate is going to get hit up the most? Or what team do you think is going to go out there and score the most runs in the entire slate?
Yeah, for the late slate, since it's the one I'm still on, we'll go with Mitch Haniger. I still think Kykel is the gas can on that slate, almost by default, because I think that slate's pretty loaded. It's kind of a shame we don't have a mix of those pitchers, because we don't have a ton of secondary options on the early slate. As far as that slate goes, I think the gas can is going to be Lodolo. I know he's a highly regarded prospect. I think this is a tougher spot at home against a lineup that's hitting well. And we'll go with Franmil Reyes to get off the schneid and crank one out.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to stay with Cleveland with you. Look, the easy call is probably Jose Ramirez again. I like the Reyes call. I want to go someone in this game. Let's try to be sneaky. Let's go Oscar Mercado, top prospect from years ago. He's starting to heat up a little bit. Great American Small Park. Let's go with that Cleveland slack early for the late game. I'm gonna attack Berrios. I like his game, man. I like his stuff. Shaky start in the first one. I'm gonna let's go with Aaron Judge, righty damage. Let's see if he can go out there and do his thing. I tried doing the Stanton call the day prior. I don't know if he hit a home run yet, but that's gonna be my call. I do like your Seattle call with Haniger. I think Suarez can get one out there too. As far as my gas can for the entire slate, I won't steal your thunder and go with Lodolo, which I think is a good call. I'll go with Gray. I think the Braves can go out there and get to Gray. Probably the second best hitting environment outside of Cincinnati, against Lodolo. So I think Gray's going to get touched up. Atlanta's going to go out there and put up some runs. Olsen's starting to wake up. So that's probably my second favorite stack of the slate. Anything else that we're looking at before we head out of here, Adam?
No, we just want Alex Wood to get 3 more strikeouts, and we'll have not Alex Wood, Alex Cobb. We need 5. Darvish is getting lit up, so I'm pretty happy that the first sentence in the starting rotation last night was, I feel like I'm going to be underweight to the field on Darvish. I certainly was. I didn't get a lot else right necessarily as far as my stacks, but Darvish is just getting smacked early.
All right, got to ask you 2 more questions before we head out. Play-in games are going on tomorrow. You got the Hornets and the Hawks. And you got the Spurs and the Pelicans. Who wins these 2 games?
I got the Pelicans in that one. They've quietly played like really good defense since the trade deadline. Not really what you expect when CJ McCollum enters your rotation, but things have been clicking for them pretty well. And then I got the Hawks. The Hornets are fun. They're exciting. No John Collins hurts the Hawks, but they've been surviving without him. And in games like this, when it's kind of close, I just default to the best player, and that's still Trae Young in that game.
Crazy that we're talking about the Pelicans, man. Like, that team was so washed early, and it's like you just molded a team of like all misfits who couldn't do things right on their teams at one point in time, and now they're all mashed together and they're playing good basketball together. So interesting to see that. Brooklyn had a slight scare, but they're gonna, I guess, move forward or however these playing games go.
Yeah,
but interesting NBA. Yeah, they're set up pretty nicely. KD, Kyrie can carry that team.
You saw the whole Brooklyn experience tonight, because you saw why some people are like, these guys aren't getting past the Celtics. They're going to get losing 5 games. But then, like, okay, it comes to nut crunching time. Here comes Kevin Durant. They need buckets. Bang, bang. You look up and Brooklyn's back up by double digits. Like, that's why people can't quit the Nets, man, because when it gets close, Kevin Durant has that ball. It just feels like every shot's going in. And if he misses, Kyrie's going to bang home a 3. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Durant is unguardable, man. He really is. I feel bad for people who try to, like, he's unguardable. If he just had this supporting cast and some defense, and Drummond's doing his thing too. Nice little pickup there. Who knows what happens to Ben Simmons? That honestly might be the missing piece for them to actually make a real run. They do need some defense on that team. So if he can do anything, just play some defense, that could help that team a lot. But make sure you check us out at Win Daily Sports. Claxton, that's Ghost Boy. I know he's a big.
Yeah, speedy Claxton season, man. He had a nice game tonight.
Yeah, look, and they're gonna need these role players to step up, man. They definitely are. We'll be back. Yeah. We'll be back tomorrow. Everybody, I hope you finish your slates off nicely. You hit your props. Make sure if you want to hit some props, you make sure you read Adam's article. But hop in that expert chat. That's where we give all our plays out from the time we wake up until these slates locks. We have an early slate tomorrow. So hop in our expert chat on Discord to search Win Daily Sports. Go to windailysports.com. We will get out of here. Hopefully, everybody's going to be cashing tonight and then cash again tomorrow with some NBA and some MLB. And also check out our golf show. We just finished our golf show earlier today. You can go check that out on our YouTube page as well. So we were out of here. Everybody have a good rest of your night.